All right, folks. Welcome back to this podcast takes tokens. And I'm Derek with my brother Ryan here
We can
to
switch up.
yeah,
It's
we can switch
fine.
it out.
Yeah,
We get confused for each other all the time. It's okay.
that's
It
right.
happens. But yeah, we're here. We're back this week with a new episode, movie this week. We'll get to that after the intro. But first, the icebreaker. Last week I left you with a question. What's the first thing you remember making? And what you got?
Yeah, so it was a Lego set, and it
Oh,
was
okay.
a pirate ship Lego set.
Oh, I remember those. Yeah.
You remember those? Like that's the thing. Like I miss the Lego sets that are like, excuse me, the pirate ship, the castle. They had like a
Mm-hmm.
forest set that was kind of like what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just miss all those. But I had this big pirate ship that
Oh
had
yeah.
like the masts and everything on it. And yeah, I remember putting that together. That was a lot of fun. Something simple, but it was fun.
Yeah. Simple.
I
Yeah.
mean, it
Yeah. I
wasn't
remember
simple for
having.
me back then, but
Well, yeah, back then.
yeah,
But you
yeah,
did it. That's all that matters. Is
I
you
did
did
it.
it. You
Yeah,
put
yeah,
yourself forth and you did it. Yeah.
yeah.
I'd probably. I mean, I'm sure I had Lego sets before what I'm recalling because I know I had that spaceship one, like it was a rather large spaceship one, and then I had like a smaller knights and castle type one,
Oh yeah,
and um I think there was like a little racer one that I had as well from all around that time, like that are late 80s, early 90s time period, and I had like a little red, about the size of a briefcase, red plastic with like a latched top to it, Lego branded, to hold all the Legos in. And you latch it down, you carry it like a little suitcase. And it held all my Legos. It was just the right size. That was the extent of the Lego collection that I had as a kid. I look out in my uh, son's room and play area, and he has dwarfed that by quite a degree.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
he had more Legos in his first year than I ever had. But
yeah.
that was
They're
partly me just living vicariously through him.
yeah, they're a lot of fun. I have
Yeah.
more fun like putting them together now. Like I don't really. My daughter wants to play with them with me sometimes, and that's fine. But like
Mm,
I like following the instructions, and just
yeah.
putting
Build the
the
thing and
sets
you
together.
put it
Yeah,
up. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. I would agree. Yeah, I have a DeLorean one up here that
Uh-huh.
I still have to put together. I
Hmm.
just don't have a shelf up in here. I haven't put up my shelves yet. So whenever I get my shelving all situated in here, I'm gonna put it together one weekend and set it up on the shelf, along with my NES and a couple others that I've collected over the years.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's Lego. That's a good one. So for me, what brought this on
Yeah.
is not only our subject for today, which reminded me of this thing that we used to do as kids. We would go into like dad's scrap lumber pile and pull out these like 1x2 sticks, if you will, that were probably trim pieces and offcuts from his various odd jobs and handyman type stuff that he would do on the weekends and at nights. And we'd cut them down to probably about 2 feet long, and then another like little 6 foot one, and then just hammer and nails, make a
Oh yeah.
little cross hilt off of it, sharpen the end of it on the driveway, and make a little sword. And I just
Yeah.
remember doing that all the time. We made like a bunch of swords, and we just go out and play. And uh, inspired, I'm sure, by our topic for today, but it was a lot of fun. I always enjoyed that, and it's one of the earliest things I remember making. I remember going out and like really kind of making with my hands, and making with my own two hands. That and like you said, Legos and
Hmm.
model car building was probably another one. But I think my earliest memories are just going through the scrap lumber pile and just like making whatever we felt like making in our imagination, and it looked great. I'm sure it didn't, but
Yeah.
it's in our mind and our imagination, it looked fantastic. So
I always remember putting just one nail to hold the
yeah,
hilt on there, and then it
it
would
just
end
kind of
up like
turned.
getting cockeyed. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know why we never thought just put two in there, to hold
yeah.
it, but I don't
Well,
know.
I think his nails were like precious. We had to like scavenge for
Oh,
nails too,
sure.
and like
Yeah.
straighten them out on the driveway.
Yeah,
And
they were usually
yeah,
bent up and everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
No
Yes.
screws. No, that was not a
No.
thing for us back then.
No.
They did not
Mm-mm.
use screws back then.
No.
But yeah, that was one of my early memories. I always
Yeah.
had fun with those.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you ready to get this puppy started?
Let's do it.
All right. Your local video store card.
A comic book in your back pocket.
Games with no tutorials.
Music you had to discover.
And drinking water straight from the hose.
These are the things us millennials remember fondly. We are the Jennings brothers.
Join us after the streetlights come on
as we race our bikes from the top of the hill
right down memory lane.
Exchange those quarters, because this podcast takes tokens.
All right, welcome back. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being with us, for joining us for this, Robin Hood. We're talking Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, not the more current one, not Men in Tights. We're talking Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Although Men in
today.
Tights,
Men in Tights.
we're gonna have to do Men in Tights sometime.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I told my wife I was watching Robin Hood this weekend. I asked her if she wanted to join me for it. She was like, "Which one?" I was like, Prince of Thieves, with Kevin Costner, classic. She goes, "Nah, but let me know when you do when you do Men in Tights. I'll be there for that."
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Well, released June 14th, 1991, with a runtime of 2 hours and 23 minutes. This was quite a long movie. 2 hours and 35 minutes if you watch the extended cut like I did. And a budget of $48 million. But yes, we'll get to the extended cut.
Yes.
Budget of $48 million. How much? What you want to guess on the grosses? We'll go with just U.S. gross.
Just U.S. gross. $48 million for a budget. I'm gonna say $80 million.
$80 million. Well, you were wrong. It was $165 million.
You're kidding me.
No, yeah. This is a big deal.
Cow.
$390 million worldwide. This was a big one. This was a pretty big movie. I remember they had toys for this movie.
Oh, yeah.
This was a big one. Yeah.
Yes. They had. You knew it was a big movie when they had a kid's toy line.
Absolutely.
For it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I'm sure I had a couple of the toys, but I don't remember specifically. But I think I had the Robin Hood, and I think I had the Sheriff.
That was yours. I'm thinking of. Yes. Yeah.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, toy line. Anyways, normally we like to start these out and we'll riff on maybe some of the dialogue from the movie or something like that. I didn't really feel like I could do that justice, so I'm gonna throw at you a few facts, if you will. Here's some Kevin Costner or Alan Rickman fun facts for you, if you will.
Okay.
All right. Alan Rickman accepted the part when he was offered only on his third offer, when they gave him free reign with the character to do pretty much whatever he wanted, and as a result he ad-libbed some of our favorite lines, such as the line about the eating a heart or cutting his heart out with a spoon, which spurred an additional scene where we harken back to that again, and the little bit about where he hears about Loxley going around and robbing from the rich and giving to the poor, and how the poor love him for it, and so on and so forth. And he's like, okay, well, cancel the alms for the poor and cancel this other thing and this other thing. And then he walks out, and then he turns back around and he ad-libs and cancel Christmas. So that's all. That's all our man there, Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
So next fun fact: until this year, this current year here, not 1991, but the current year we're in, Kevin Costner has never done a sequel to any movie. He's been offered several, but has not. Famously turns down sequel roles, wanting to do one-offs instead. However, this year they put out that Horizon: An American Saga. I haven't seen it myself, but there are two of them with a third one coming. So I think that kind of takes this out. Although if he's running them as like a saga, a series, I would almost say that maybe doesn't qualify if it's a
Yeah.
planned series such as this.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kevin
I mean,
Costner
because
famously turns down sequels.
he did Yellowstone, and like
Yeah,
if you want
that's
to
a
look at that,
series.
like
Yeah,
it's a series of
yeah,
series of
series of
episodes.
sequels.
Can you imagine, like, if he's like, yeah, I'll do it, but I'm just doing the first episode.
Just the first episode, yeah, just season 1. That's all.
Yeah.
Or it'd be like there was a show they had really recently with Ryan Phillippe was in the first episode, and he was in all the artwork for the show, and he was killed off in the first episode.
Oh, really?
And then it was me and my wife were like, well, this is really weird. Why do they have him on the cover of like the thumbnail art for the show if he's going to be killed off in the first episode? Did not show up again in any of the subsequent episodes. It was just really weird. It was really bizarre.
That is strange. Yeah.
But anyways, 2 more fun facts for you. Both these Kevin Costner related. Kevin Costner once had a job early on working the boat on the Jungle Cruise ride at Disneyland.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That would have been a sight to see. I would have enjoyed that one, I think.
Yeah.
Although I enjoyed the Jungle Cruise.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He didn't. He wasn't the tour guide when I wrote it. So.
No.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to have him come back, though.
Yeah.
Or if they could have had him play the part on the Jungle Cruise movie that they did, that would have been fun. Yeah. Anyway, so last one. This is a quick one. Our boy, Kevin Costner, was born at 9:40 p.m. Just a little fun fact that I stumbled across.
That's
it.
Okay,
that's a random one.
Okay.
We got the specific time that he was born. All right.
Wow.
Okay, so we'll go with that.
Okay.
9:40 p.m.
Well,
if you're wondering.
I've got one for you that is that's movie related here, and it's related to the cameo we have at the very end of the movie with Sean Connery. He was paid $250,000 for that cameo. His normal rate was $1 million.
Wow!
But he took the $250,000 because they were already like I think 16 million over budget or something like that. And then he donated that to a hospital in Scotland. Yeah. So I thought, that's cool. That's cool.
That's a good guy right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other little fun fact: he also played Robin Hood in another movie, Robin and Marian.
Oh, he did.
He did. Okay. He did. Yeah. But anyways, today we're talking Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. This was one of my favorite movies growing up. I think because it hit just at that right time. 1991, I was 10 years old. This movie comes out, and I'm watching it now, and I think I figured out why. It really taps into that little boy and wanting to just go play hero with your friends, climb trees, and build forts. I mean, that's just like every 10-year-old, that's all they want to do. And this hit me at the right time. I really enjoyed this movie, and I enjoyed it again on the rewatch. It was just as fun and in completely different ways as well. Picked up on new things, kind of little here and there, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. How about you?
Yeah. I didn't like it as much as I used to. Now, when I was a kid, like you were saying, we watched this a lot. I'm pretty sure we had this on VHS.
Oh yeah,
at Dad's house. Watched it several times. Watching it again, I wish I would have watched the theatrical cut, not the extended cut. I know it's only like an extra 12 minutes, but I'm just like, I felt like I kind of drug a little bit. It was just a little bit long for me.
I would agree with that.
It could, if they would have trimmed down about another, I don't know, 20 minutes off of it, then I think I
can see why they cut the 12 minutes they cut.
Yeah. But I didn't dislike it. It just wasn't as good of a rewatch for me.
No problem. Yeah.
So
that happens.
Yeah. But I one of the big things that stuck out to me that was I never noticed it as a kid, or maybe I didn't want to notice it or whatever. Kevin Costner's lack of a British accent.
Oh yeah.
And
It's a
then
little bit in the beginning, and it fades really quick.
yes, and then
Yes.
you've got the same thing with Christian Slater. He has no British accent.
It's no British accent.
And I'm
No,
like,
he didn't even try.
no, no. And then as great of an actor as Morgan Freeman is, his accent I thought was
a little much.
pretty stiff. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was just like, I don't quite know if this
Yeah.
works. But so I had to like get past that because it was
I could
for
see that,
me
yeah.
rewatching this and not having Robin with a British accent. I was like, we're in England, like in the 1200s. Like you're gonna have like an accent of some sort, right?
Yeah.
But we've got an American Robin Hood, you know, living living in England, I guess. I don't know, but that was one of my big qualms that I had, that I had a hard time getting
That's
over
fair.
as an adult watching this. So
Yeah. For me, the big qualm was the cinematography. It was brutal for me. I did not like many of the camera angles. They would come down really low and shoot up during like fight scenes, or they would get like really tight, really close with a fisheye lens. Yeah. And I'm like,
so
what
weird.
are we doing? Somebody's on drugs in this movie or something.
Yeah.
This is crazy. But yeah, like that was really that one, it got to me. I'll admit that one bugged me. And then the accent work was like, come on now. But I mean, at the same time, this one kind of feels like what they did with the last one with A Knight's Tale, where they're trying to tell it almost in a modern way. And to me, I could kind of see that. I mean, they didn't go like full, Queen, We Will Rock You in the opening scene, but the score of the whole movie, if you're paying attention throughout the whole movie, is just the Bryan Adams Everything I Do For You song, and played by an orchestra, slowed down, maybe sped up a little bit. Like it's that and the theme song, like the main theme that they run at the very beginning, are like the two songs that you hear throughout this whole thing. And it's really like they tried to make a 2.5 hour long music video for this Bryan Adams song. And I'm okay with it. It works, but I feel like maybe you don't need to lean on it so much.
yeah.
So maybe what's one thing that stood the test of time for you on the rewatch here?
So Alan Rickman.
Oh, absolutely.
Phenomenal in this. I mean, he's born to play that type of a role.
Oh yeah.
He does such a good job at it.
And just goes for it.
Yes. And the I don't remember his name. I've got IMDb pulled up, but it's probably
Guy
deep
of
down
Gisborne.
in here. No, it was
the Friar Tuck.
Well, the Friar Tuck was great. Walter Sparrow playing Duncan. I thought he did a great job.
Duncan. Oh yeah, okay.
Duncan.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the just the relationship that him and Robin had. And like when they go back to when Robin finally gets back to his home and the castle's all burnt and he sees his father up there and he's like, Duncan, why didn't you cut him down? He's like, well, I would have, sire, but I can't, they took my eyes, and
that's like 4 months later. So he's been wandering around this burnt out castle with no eyes, surviving somehow, which is just insane.
Yeah. And then I loved how like Robin really at that point really like took him and was just taking care of him. Like when he went and got the food and brought it back to, and he like drops everything for everybody, but he grabs a piece of bread just to bring over to Duncan. And I just like that it's almost like a surrogate father that's just, I don't know.
I feel like in a
nursing
castle,
home or something that you're trying to take care of.
Duncan probably raised him for the most part, while his dad did lordly duties, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was probably like a father to him. And whenever this happens, Robin feels a certain duty to take care of him, which I think speaks to his character a bit, that he's developed as he says in the movie, war and time in prison can change a man. And he definitely left a boy and came back a man.
Yep.
Although I don't know about kissing the sand. That was
I
I
liked
don't know. I
that
have a
scene.
thing with sand. I have a thing with sand, and it kind of bugs me.
Yeah. Well, so
It's just,
when I was a kid,
yeah.
I used to put sand in my mouth
Oh.
because
Oh
I
no.
liked I liked the grittiness of it. I don't know
No.
why. Like I loved it. Um I wouldn't do that now, um but I liked that. Like you could tell that he was so happy to be home. Like
Yeah.
because in the beginning he doesn't even know if he's gonna make it home. When he
No.
finally gets home and he just like is literally kissing the earth.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was good. And I thought that go ahead.
I was gonna say the whole escape scene in the beginning, like that's just like that was a great start. Like we
Oh yeah.
see Robin Hood, we see how smart and tactful he can be. Like he
Hmm.
puts himself up onto the block to have his hand chopped off, only to pull the guy across, and
Yep.
then that guy gets his hand chopped off. Chaos ensues, and he uses it as a means of escape. It was great. It just really displayed how smart he was, and then it also displayed his uh, who he is as a person, wanting to save as many other people as he
Yeah.
could, and take them with him. And sadly, his cousin doesn't make it. Or is that his cousin? That can't be his cousin. It's got to be his friend.
I think so. I think it's just a
Because he
friend
ends
or
up with Maid
something.
Marian,
Yeah.
who's his sister. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's his cousin. I must have misread that one. But yeah, and then just like escapes and runs, which that was another part that bugged me on the rewatch was this specific scene whenever they escape into the night. It's pretty bright out, and I was thinking
Yeah.
this looks like it was shot on a back lot, in like a studio somewhere. I've kind of lost the sense of being outdoors. I don't think it would be too hard to pull that off, but
I would forgive that if this was a movie that was made about 20 years prior, because
yeah.
back then, like, they had a hard time doing night shots because of the
Yeah.
technology. So they would literally just put like a shade over the lens and it would look like it was night. But at this point in 1991, even if let's just say they shot it in 89, they've got the tech. They can
Well,
shoot this in the dark.
they're
Like,
still having problems shooting in the dark. I mean, if you notice, whenever they go into the dungeon scenes a lot, it gets really grainy, and
well, yeah, that's true.
it's struggling with getting enough light to show us anything. Maybe that's why they were doing the extreme close-ups, because they could only get like so much light into the camera at one time. I don't know.
Be.
But yeah, that was a cool little scene. I like that. I like the little funny things that we get throughout the movie, like whenever Azim hands Robin the little spyglass that he's cobbled together, and Robin looks through it and he sees the guy coming, and he quickly like grabs out his sword and he's like, "What?" and he shakes it a little bit like they're inside there or something.
Yeah,
that was great.
I liked it.
Enjoyed that.
I liked that Azim was, I can't remember what it was, that same scene, and he's like, "I don't know how you all conquered Jerusalem."
Yeah. I think it was right after that. Yeah. He's like, "How did you conquer Jerusalem? How did you do that?" You a bunch of morons.
Yeah.
And like throughout the whole movie, nobody can count. So like they keep calling off like random numbers for how many people are coming, and it's like, well, I guess that's enough.
Yeah.
And at one point he even says, it's okay, they can't count. Doesn't matter.
They can't count anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 5 of them. There's like 20. And they just tell them. They tell them 5.
Yeah. That was great. Or Duncan, whenever the guy of Gisborne first comes and he's talking to Maid Marian, and Duncan's like, point me to the danger, Azim. I'm here. I'm ready. And it's like, what are you gonna do? You're blind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed it though. I had a lot of fun with this one. It has a lot of like humor to it, which I really enjoyed. This is kind of like this whole. This is like Kevin Costner's almost his peak here in the early 90s. Before he gets into I think he did Dances with Wolves right before this, and he did like Field of Dreams, I think was just like a couple years before this. And he does like JFK and The Bodyguard, and Say What You Want About Bodyguard. I enjoyed that one. Perfect World, Wider, The War, and then we get Waterworld, that's Postman, and it all kind of like starts falling apart for him again there. But I blame Waterworld on the director, and only because it shares the same director as this here movie. So I think
you know what?
I think they kind of like stretched that one too thin.
I'm gonna have a hot take here. I enjoyed Waterworld.
No, that's
It was
fine.
just it was like Mad Max in the ocean.
Yeah. No, it was a fun movie, but it just wasn't a very well done movie in a lot of respects. And I think that's kind of what I had a problem with. At least that's what I remember having a problem with. I don't know. I also remember having fun with it. So I'm curious to see when we rewatch that one, how that one comes off.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, that takes us to, I don't know, the Little John gets introduced, and this is where we get our tie-in with our last movie. With Little John there. I'll forget the actor's name, but he played Little John here, and he also played the knight from the beginning of A Knight's Tale that dies, and
yes,
he has very little screen time there, but yes. And then I think he may have played Robin Hood at one point as well, if I recall. There was somebody else that also played Robin Hood in this movie, but I can't remember who the other one was. It might have been the guy that played Locksley, the Lord Locksley. But I can't remember off the top of my head. I'd read it somewhere and I thought, oh, that was interesting, but I dismissed it because I had other fun facts that were, I thought, a little more fun.
It's so interesting to me. Like, how many times can Hollywood retell this story?
I know.
Like,
I haven't watched
you look at all these
single other one, except for Men in Tights.
Okay, well, there's Men in Tights. Which, fun fact, did you know Cary, is it Elwes? How do you say his last name?
Elwes, yeah. He was up for this part.
He was up for this role, yeah.
He turned it down because he thought it was too goofy. And I'm like, but then you go off and you do Men in Tights?
Yes.
I don't know. I guess at that point he decided to lean into it, so.
Yeah. The only other one I've seen is the Russell Crowe one, and I
haven't seen that one.
It wasn't very good. I didn't think, but.
And then wasn't Jamie Foxx in that one, or was he in a different one?
I can't remember.
Yeah,
he was in one of them, but I don't remember if it was that one or not.
I think it was a different one. I can't remember. I haven't seen it either way.
We're not missing a whole lot.
No. But so the fight with Little John was probably one of my favorite scenes growing up. I always enjoyed that. It was a good little like back and forth, and Robin ultimately comes out ahead because John Little can't swim and is drowning in 2 feet of water. And he's like, just stand up and you're good. But I always enjoyed that one growing up, and I enjoyed it again this time. It was a lot of fun. That and I cut your heart out with a spoon. Fantastic line, because it'll hurt more. I mean, come on, can't beat that.
Right? Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I liked the this scene. It's sorry, my dog is like doing his thing again. It's very, this scene with the river and like the waterfalls and all that is very iconic. Like, I feel like when I think about Robin Hood, this is the scene that I think about.
Yeah.
And it looks like, I think it would have been fun to shoot that scene. Like, it looks just fun when they're just using staffs on each other and tripping each other, and
would have been fun to just hang out on the side.
Yeah.
Taking that view. I bet that was gorgeous.
Yeah. But you're right. Little John can't, like, you're in 2 feet of water. Like, you can't stand up. You are like 8 feet tall. You can't stand up here.
I thought you knew these woods like the back of your hand.
Yes.
Come on. I guess he never bothered. He just was so afraid of water. He's like, I'm not even gonna get near that. Yeah. So,
but he's so afraid of water, yet he walks out to challenge Robin in the water.
This is true.
So
he's got to. I mean, it's his it's his land. He's got to collect taxes.
Yeah.
No,
but he's a good character. I liked him. I liked him quite a bit. I thought he was a good, I don't know, would you call him a number 2 to Robin? I mean, you got a Zeme too, so I don't know, but he was a good, just a good companion for Robin.
Good leader of the merry men.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad they did not go with the green tights and pointy hats on this one.
Yes.
That might have taken me out of it. I don't think we've seen that since the 70s and Errol Flynn and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one, and this movie's got another great training montage. Like the whole scene where they're setting up the the tree houses, and everybody's learning how to use bow and arrow, and they're making bows and arrows, and just figuring it out as they go. That was great. I wonder how long they spent training to get as good as they were.
Well, yeah. I was wondering, like, where are they getting all this steel from? Like, I know.
Oh yeah.
Are they? They surely can't be jumping that many soldiers.
Maybe they got a couple of swords and they just broke those down and used those at first until they started taking out more and more people. And getting it that way. Maybe that'd be my guess. I mean, because one of those swords, that's a lot of steel. That'd go a long way.
Oh yeah. I mean, how much steel did it have to use on the arrows?
Yeah, like not much. Just like a little bit at the tip. Yeah.
Well, still though, I mean, how many arrows did they have? I don't know.
Yeah.
That was hard for me to. I love the montage. It was hard for me. Like, if I really thought about it, I'm like, they're not getting this much steel. Yeah. Are they really? Do the chickens have this many feathers that they can put on these arrows?
That's a lot of them living out there. They're probably eating quite a few chickens, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But speaking of the arrows, that's another thing that didn't age that great. Those shots down the arrow where the arrow's flying through the woods. I can't remember if that was CGI or if they did like a composite layered shot for that, like some green screen work. I want to say that, like, back in the day, we had that like movie magic show on Discovery Channel, and I want to say I was watching it and they talked about making that shot and how it was like a green screen thing. Like, they had an arrow that they had lined up with the camera, and then they had like a drill that spun the arrow to give it that effect, and then they shot that on a green screen, plated that over a camera pushing through a forest really fast, and then cutting it together with the arrow actually going into the tree and all that. I don't know that they had the CGI technology back then to pull this off.
See, I thought, to me, it looked like they had done what you were saying with the arrow, right? They've got it lined up with the camera, they've got it spinning, and then they just moved the camera forward to wherever they're going, and then then post production they just sped that shot up. Was how it looked to me. But I don't know that for a fact. I didn't I didn't look it up to see that, so I don't know.
I seem to remember the arrow that they used for that plate shot was larger than a standard arrow, and so that may be why they didn't do it on the end of a camera. Although that would have worked just fine too. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I understand this director's every choice, because I do not, for sure.
I mean, those reiterate, those close-up shots are just very. I mean, that is the weirdest thing. Like, especially that one with Alan Rickman, and he's just like, I don't know. And I'm like, what is this? What is this?
It reminds me of like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. A lot of those, but that was done on purpose because what the movie's about. And then here we are with this, and it just, like, I don't know, it just didn't fit. It was weird. I didn't. I will say that. But like Alan Rickman, fantastic, great throughout the whole movie. I like all these little things that he does throughout the movie, like whenever he comes in and he's like really frustrated and he goes over the table and he just grabs the knife real quick and he just like stabs real quick on the table and then sets it down. Just like a little bit of frustration that he's feeling. That was fantastic. That was great. Great Alan Rickman for sure.
I loved his reaction when he's walking through the hall and he passes by his statue. And he comes back and someone has like drawn the scar on the statue, and they molded it. And he's like, who did this?
He's like, tries to get it off real quick with that guy's hat.
It was his, like the way he walks past it and then he stops and then he comes back and it's just the way he's like, peering at it, and only Alan Rickman could do it, and it was great.
Yes. I would like to see the Sheriff of Nottingham meet Severus Snape. I think that would be a
Oh
great coming
yeah,
together of two characters.
yes,
But yeah, the scar on the statue, that was great. I like how it just like it stays with him, and it bugs him. Like every time he walks by, you can see he's just like, oh god.
yeah.
But yeah, like that's definitely like his house isn't in order. He's got some folks that are quite upset with him, and they got no problem telling him and showing him in these little ways. I think it was the his little, what is it, his page that's writing everything for him, his scribe. I think it was the scribe. That's my guess.
Yeah,
the scribe
yeah,
because he was quite harsh on that scribe.
Oh yeah.
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 But yeah, he was quite villainous. He was a good little villain. Yeah, and
he was,
like because he kills his own cousin. Like that's pretty dark. That's a disturbed indivible for sure.
And I mean, he didn't even do it. See, it's just right just there like in front of all the blacksmiths. Yeah, he's just stabs him. And for whatever reason, I was thinking like, oh, he doesn't actually kill this guy. Like he comes back, and then Robin kills him, and then he never came back. I was like, okay, I guess I remember that wrong. He killed him.
Yeah, killed, and then turned around. And he's like, but at least I didn't use a spoon.
Yeah.
Bring it all back again.
Yeah.
Which was just like, I mean, I'm just digging it in even more. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great Alan Rickman for sure.
What'd you think about the witch? Because when I was a kid, the witch terrified me. Oh man, she scared me to death as a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, just her look, her vibe, like the way she spoke, like whenever she cracks open that egg and it's like bloody, and then like she spits in it, and she's got that one crooked long nail and runs it through it. Oh yeah, she was quite disturbing. Definitely a subject of many nightmares, and it may provoke a few more after this rewatch.
Yeah.
She's quite unsettling. I did not enjoy her. It makes sense though, with all the added scenes, that she is his mother, and she's trying to put him in this position of power and get the bloodline married into royal bloodline, and her whole like scheme and everything like that. I think that's a great little bit of subplot that I wish could have been left in, but I understand cutting it, because without it, it's fine. It works without it.
Yeah.
Just as fine as having that in there. But I think it adds like another layer that is great for the story. I think it could have been played a little better, but it was a good little subplot. I like that little addition.
I understand, like you were saying, I understand why they cut it. Like, I think that adding all of the satanic stuff to the movie really makes it darker. Like, and I can see them being like, oh, we can't put this out there to the general audience. Like, this is just too, and especially when she's talking about how she had killed somebody else's baby and then put it in place of it and everything. I'm like, this is R-rated at this point.
Yeah.
Like the way that they're talking.
Can't sell toys.
No, you can't. So
no little Satan dolls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I understand why they took that out. I will say I did like the scene that was added in the extended cut, where him and the other lords are having like a mass in whatever area that is, and the Celtic leader comes in and just like sticks that burning log on his hand and just burns it
to show like that we're gonna ravage
how
these
tough
people.
We are. Yeah. That was pretty cool. But I don't even remember. I wish one of us. I wish we would have communicated, and one of us would have watched the theatrical cut and one watched the extended cut, because I don't remember if any of this this satanic mass stuff was in.
It was not
in the theater. So when Robin's father dies,
That part in the
I wonder
beginning
what.
was.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like
Okay.
where he comes out and they're all in like hoods and cloaks.
Yeah.
But that was like the extent of it. They didn't really come
Okay.
back to it after that. So I
Okay.
think we
Okay.
were just kind of like, because I remember just thinking, oh, okay, they're like part of a cult, or they're it's like a secret society. It
Mm-hmm.
almost came off because they got like pointy hats. It
Yeah.
almost came off as like KKK, but completely the
Yeah.
wrong time for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But maybe that's the vibe they're going through. White,
Mm-hmm.
and everything like that is.
Yeah.
It conjures that imagery, or I
Mm-hmm.
suppose, and you just know, oh, these are bad dudes.
Yeah.
So my thought was, it's just some underground society that's like really the driving force behind everything. Or some of the conversation later on was about how he's making this grab for power to unseat the king while he's away on the crusades and everything. And
Uh-huh.
those were all the people that were supporting him in that. And so I think there was some subtext that you were supposed to pick up on as far as that's concerned. And at the same time, like, ultimately, maybe it doesn't matter who they are, because we just know that he's after power, period.
Yep.
And that's all that really matters. And
Mm-hmm.
how he's trying to get there in the broader scheme isn't as important as like what he's doing directly. So I think that's kind of where that came from, would be my guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It was dark, and I can see why
it was
for sure. Yeah,
it was. It really was. Yeah. Now I do. So when the witch dies, right? Like she had seen in her
the
vision,
first or second time.
Well, right. She had seen in her vision where like she was going to be killed by the painted man or whatever,
Yeah.
And so Azim, well, he doesn't impale her. She runs into the.
Oh yeah, he's terrifying.
Yeah. She runs, which when she was dying that time, that was terrifying. Even like just the way she was, like her face was, and it was another one of those close up shots, but it was just how did she get in the room at the end? Right after the sheriff is dead, Alan Rickman's down for the count, and Robin and Marion are like,
about to
embracing, and and then
she busts in,
comes up, and then Azim finally knocks the door down, and then he throws the sword. How did she get in the room?
Well, like two things.
I could not figure that out.
There was another entrance to that room, and I think they made mention of it in that scene about how there was another way in. I can't remember exactly who said it, but I picked up on it that there was a second entrance, probably like maybe through the floor or something like that. I would assume is how she came in. And then Azim comes in, and he's been trying to break down this door. Him and Robin go grab the statue, and they're ramming that into the door, trying to break it down. Can't make any headway. This English oak is really hard, or whatever he kept saying. And but then like in the final moments, he just kicks it down, breaks that thing off, that log off of it or whatever, and then throws it, like, and immediately knows where to throw his sword, like where she's at, and just like hits her square on. But hey, that's the scene. He had to pay his debt. He did.
Yep, he did. He did. That was it.
Azim was pretty cool though. I enjoyed it. He was very smart dude. Like he's definitely like very a worldly traveler. He had some knowledge. Did he perform a C-section on the Little John's wife? Is that what he ended up doing there? Like whenever because he's like he had to cut her open.
No, he didn't. So I have seen. Where have I seen this at?
Well, he had only done it on cows before.
Well, right. But anyway, I work in a hospital, and so he was able to manipulate from the outside, manipulate the way that the baby was positioned in the womb, and then the child was able to come out. Is how I took it.
Baby. That's why he needed the needle and thread. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense then. Okay. I thought that he did a C-section is what I thought. No. They were like, he's killing her. But okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Because I don't think she would have survive
a medieval
a
C-section.
C-section. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering. Like, there's not much sterility, like,
Yeah.
And then like the next day or whatever, they're getting attacked by the Celts, and she's like swinging on a rope over,
which is still a feat after she's given birth to this child. I mean,
with the child.
I'm not gonna like she is.
She's Wonder Woman.
If anybody in this movie is accused of being tough, it's this woman. Like she is. I'm not gonna argue with it. Yeah,
and that wasn't her first kid either.
No, they had like 9 or something, wasn't it? Like, Little John says something about it. Yeah.
We'll get the other 7 to take care of it or something.
Yeah,
like
that was it. Yeah, there's 8 of them. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be the 8.
yeah.
So yeah.
Man, yeah. But yeah, she's tough. She's tough old woman for sure. But yeah, so all this like this battle that ensues, there at the camp, and then later on at the castle, all the sword fighting, it really like, other than, well, even the one with Robin Hood and the sheriff, I mean, their sword fight really was like, it was more like a street brawl than like a sword fight. They really weren't like clashing metal as much as they were just like throwing things at each other and wrestling and rolling around and just trying not to get hit by the other person. Not a lot of like proper sword fighting, but I suppose like that seems a little more realistic. Like, you're not gonna like on guard and all that. You're gonna do whatever, throw dirt and knock over statues and whatever you can do to get in the other person's way.
It's close quarters in there too. It's not like you've got all the room in the world to, you're just gonna.
Yeah, because like he's got Robin in the corner of the window there, and then he rears up, and I was thinking like, how's he gonna hit him? Like, he's tucked into this little opening. If he comes down with that sword, he's just gonna end up hitting the top of that.
Yeah.
He's not gonna hit Robin, but I mean, it ultimately didn't matter because Robin had the little knife. But
it was his knife that he gave Marion.
Is poetic.
Yeah, which is like, because when he pulls it out, he looks at it and then just realizes, oh, this is the knife I gave her.
Yeah,
and but killed with my own knife. But, that's right. Yeah, that was like he got him. Like it was a heart shot. He got him in the heart. Like that thing's sticking up. Like
right between the ribs.
That's rough, man. That's a rough way to die. But
yeah.
Alan Rickman sold it. Like
he did.
What'd you think of the execution scene before that?
Oh, that was another one of my favorite scenes. That was a great scene. I enjoyed it. Except for the little bit whenever the executioner takes Will Scarlet, Christian Slater's character, and pulls that little barrel over there, and we're like, oh man, now they're not going to blow up the barrel. Sticks his head down on there and then leans over and like kind of like says something to him, and as he says it, like he's got that little bit of drool that just comes out of his mouth and like lands right on Christian Slater's face. I was like, oh, that's gross. That would bug me. But yeah, like the whole scene was great. I really like how like they can't cut down the ropes fast enough, and Little John runs over there, or John Little runs over there and just like hits it like a linebacker and just knocks that whole thing over. That was great. That was a great like hero shot for him, I thought. And,
sure.
Yeah, I enjoyed that scene. And then I think Christian Slater kind of bothered me in this movie now that I'm thinking about it, because the other thing that bugged me there was, they're marching the little boy up there through the crowd, and Christian Slater gets in front of him and is backing up and leaning over and like whispering at him, don't tell him I'm here. Don't tell him I'm here. And like, then he gets jumped by the little boy. And I'm like, why would you all you had to do was stand off to the side. Turn your back and stand off to the side. He won't know. No. Yeah. But he got up in his face. I didn't understand that part. That one bugged me a lot.
I didn't get that, because why are you stupid? You are revealing yourself to somebody, and of all the people to reveal yourself to, you're revealing yourself to the person that thinks you have like betrayed
that
everybody.
hates you.
So I thought that was a little bit silly. I liked Azim's flaming arrow that he had. He's ready, and I loved the audio of when Robin finally shoots that arrow, and you hear the boom. It was just,
That
it
was
was
great.
really cool. Yeah.
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 It was a lot of fun. And then just that shot was great. And then it like hits the guy right in the middle of the head and he falls back and you got flame coming out of it. That was a fantastic shot. That was, I mean, that's like, that was the, what do they call it back then? That was the trailer shot. That was the thing that they used in the trailer right at the end to sell you on going to the movie, was that little bit right there. And it worked. I mean, you saw that and you're like, I got to see what's going on. He's got fire behind him. Like, it's a very hero shot for
very
Kevin Costner
action packed. Like,
yeah.
Now, after that, unfortunately, to me, was the one scene that I watched on this that I was absolutely rolling because I think they unintentionally made it funny, is when they put Robin and Azim in the catapult.
Yes.
And they fire them over the wall.
I'll
I was like, okay. Oh, like I was literally rolling out loud. I'm like, what is this? Like this has went from like a serious tone, action movie to some whimsical circus show. Like, what are we doing here? And they happen to land in a big like 10-foot pile of hay.
Yeah. I thought the same thing. I was rewatching and I thought, okay, here's where they jumped the shark. This one's a bit much. I don't.
Yeah.
This is it completely killed any semblance of realism you had throughout the movie. Not that the movie was super realistic to begin with, like with these long shots that he's making with these like handmade bows and arrows, but or like, like he takes the two arrows and he licks the side of them and shoots them at when they happen to split just right to hit the two guys. I can suspend disbelief for all that, but the catapult thing, I was like, how did that not just like plaster them against the side of the wall?
I know. When they're pulling it over there, like they're climbing, I'm literally like, I'm the only one in the room, and I'm the only one watching it, and I'm like, they're not. I know they're not. They are not. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, that was that one. Yeah, that one didn't age well either. Yeah, I guess like there was quite a bit that did not age too well, but I'm okay with it. Because I can suspend disbelief and I can enjoy the film still, and I did. But that was pretty rough. And
how was? Sorry, I'm pivoting here.
No, yeah.
How was so when the sheriff tells Marion that Robin is dead?
Oh yeah.
The only thing he does to prove it is present her his medallion.
Yeah.
How is that proof that somebody's dead?
Because he wouldn't let go of it, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, as we've seen throughout the movie, he's managed to lose it to several people. At several points. So
yes.
I don't think he held on to it for very long. I gotta say, I think somebody
ended up. It was always somebody else's. Yeah.
It just fell off somewhere or something. Like he was constantly losing it. There's no way he still had that. Like even like a couple of years after the fact.
Yeah.
Speaking of keeping things, do you think anybody has that statue they did of Alan Rickman, like with the scar on it and everything, for the movie? You think that's out there somewhere still?
I hope that Alan Rickman was able to keep that.
It's in like a garden somewhere in England.
It's in his estate or something.
I would like to see that.
Yeah.
I think if I ever end up over there, I got to check out Sherwood Forest for sure.
Oh yeah. If that were me, like if I was in Alan Rickman's position, I'd be like, oh yeah.
I need that statue.
Can I have this? Like after this is done, I really want this.
If he doesn't have it, Kevin Costner has to have it on his property somewhere. One of the two of them has to have ended up with it.
Yeah.
Or we're going to find out that it ended up in the guy that played Friar Tuck's yard somewhere.
Oh,
He's got it somewhere.
Let's talk about Friar Tuck. I mean, this guy, he's not likable at first, right?
No. He's a little abrasive,
So he's jolly, but he's very much like, he's not having any of these shenanigans that they're trying to, steal his brew and all this stuff. And then when he finally comes around to Azim, like I feel like that was a real turning point where he's like, he realizes Azim's not trying to kill John Little's wife. He's trying to help her. And then he kind of like takes this, maybe he's not a barbarian, sort of a look to him. And he's like, let's go have a drink. And Azim says, well,
I
that's,
don't drink.
I can't. He's like, okay, well, you talk, I'll drink.
Yeah,
And at that point,
great.
I was like, yes. And then I love when he goes to the bishop and like he tracks him down after the wedding, and
Gets a little
he's like,
justice.
oh, he's like, you sold your soul out to the devil.
Yeah.
You know what?
Well, here's your 20 pieces.
Here's
You're gonna need
here's your
this.
20 pieces of silver. Let me help you, and he's giving him
Just
all the
starts
gold,
loading
and he
him up.
falls out. Yeah.
Kicks him out the window. Yeah,
Cool.
it's great.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
Yeah, you gotta love a guy that worships beer. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just like,
yeah,
that's fantastic. Is that like, is that their whole thing? Like, with is monks and beer? Like, that's all they do. They just make beer and they worship, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Man.
I mean, it is like I don't know about traditionally, and I'm not even going to attest to like we've got a monastery not maybe 150 miles from here. I've never been to it. You can go visit it. But
you may, but I may.
What's that?
So you may, but I may.
I don't know what they do, but back then the way I look at it is the way they're portrayed in movies and stuff is like they're just all about like we're gonna worship the Lord through drinking ale, or beer,
Making
or whatever.
and drinking. That's right. Yeah.
Now that's my kind of worship there.
Why not? Right? Yeah, I agree. Yeah. That sounds like a good time. Yeah. I can get down with that. Yeah. So taking it back all the way to the beginning, Robin Hood leaves his father under an argument, if you will, and goes off and joins the Crusades, all this fun stuff. And then he comes back 4 months after his dad's killed. Do you think if he had made it back, or even maybe not even left to begin with, well, let's say he made it back because he needs some of that experience, but let's say he made it back a month before his dad's killed, they reconcile a bit, they're hanging out doing whatever, and then all this stuff happens with the sheriff, do you think his dad still would have died, or things would have gone differently? Would he have been inspired to be the hero that he becomes it had not been for the loss of his father in this way?
I think that
did the circumstances make the man?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think the circumstances that made the man were the Crusades. Like, okay. I think that was it. And then when he comes back, like, yes, he now has like, his father has been killed, his home is burned and stolen from him, and he's in a position now where he has to bring justice to the situation, because the person that's supposed to be bringing justice to this is the one that is doing the injustice.
Yes.
But I think if he would have came back earlier, I think that him and his father would have worked together to end the injustice of the sheriff. I don't think that it would have gotten to the point that it did.
Okay.
Because it seems to me like they
would have been the leading opposition.
Oh yeah, this is just looking at the extended cut, but at that black mass that scene that they put in there, it seemed like all the other lords were in this mass and they were in this cult with the sheriff, and I feel like the only one that was on the outside was Lord Locksley. That's why they killed him. They burned down his land, and burned down his home and everything. If Robin would have been there, I think that they would have worked together, and maybe it wouldn't have gotten as bad as it did.
I can see that.
What do you think?
I could. Yeah, I don't think he would have been as antagonized if his father wasn't killed. I think his father being killed really set him on this mission to just take out the sheriff. Like, well, I don't think the sheriff's motivations for whatever the sheriff was doing, like the sheriff could have just been like sitting on his butt enjoying being sheriff and not making this big grab for power, and still kill his father, and Robin Hood would have came home and been like, that guy's got to go. and I'm going to be the one to do it. But without that, I could see, I didn't give it much thought, but what you said makes complete sense. Yes, they would have been the lead opposition. They would have been in the position to take a more political approach to the problem as opposed to a violent or physical one. Although whenever they came for the castle, things may have gone differently. Who knows how it would, because they would have been outnumbered at that point. But
yeah,
Robin's got a little more smarts. Like he's been to war, whereas his father, I doubt, has been off to war and has probably only been in skirmishes, conflicts locally with just like rabble rousers and stuff like that, and not in like a true battle situation like his son had. And there may have been a little bit of butting of heads there where he's like, where Robin's maybe like, hey, we need to do this, and his dad's like, this is my land and we're going to do it this way. And that may have created a little bit more of a rub and probably tore that wound back open again. And yeah, we'd probably still be right where we ended up at.
Yeah.
Just with a little bit rougher road there.
I think you're right about the lack of battle experience. And it really shows because he goes out by himself.
Yeah,
to
drives right
attack
into the
this
crowd.
mob. And I have a note on here. Like, I'm like, would he have clearly, so they burned his castle down, right?
Yeah.
But I think they were able to burn it down because the gate was now open. They were able to get inside.
Oh, yeah.
If he just would have hunkered down inside there, I'm sure he could have, had some attrition of some sort and defended it. And surely him and Duncan were not the only two people in the castle. Like, he had to have had servants, and there had to have been, guards and things like that, I would imagine. They're not just going to have somebody that's in a position of lordship not have some sort of protection.
Yeah. But then again, like, who could he trust? Because there was the guy that came to him and said, like, oh, they've taken my daughter and everything, who leads him outside in the first place, and is like, oh, I'm sorry, my lord. Like, he's clearly like lives on the land and that's his lord, and he's betrayed him. How many within his walls were on that side as well, would have betrayed him in that situation as well? I wonder. I don't know. That's I don't know. But I thought it was kind of what I was thinking whenever I was watching. I was like, man, I wonder how this would have went if Robin was there. Would we be talking about a different movie? Like, is this part of like what makes him who he is? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Robin would have ended up being strung up like his father was, and we wouldn't even have this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We wouldn't have Robin Hood.
I don't know.
Different Robin Hood.
I don't know. So because he wouldn't have had, really, it was his band of merry men that were able to help him achieve his goal.
Yeah.
And would Azim even be there with him at that point if he would have left earlier? I don't think so.
No.
Like, Azim was a great help.
Yeah.
in doing this. So
I think you're right. Along the way, yeah.
I changed my answer. I think that it would have turned out just as bad.
Maybe not as well.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to pivot hard again.
Okay.
We're going to talk about the just for a second. I want to touch on the Sycamore Gap tree. This is that tree whenever him and Azim are first walking back to the castle, and they come across the boy, and the boy gets run up the tree by the dogs. It's in that little valley. Nice big sycamore tree right there on that rock wall that's growing.
Yep.
That got chopped down in 2023 by some vandals. So yeah, that's kind of it's a bit of a bummer, but it had stood for several hundred years, and it was like this whole big deal. Like, like some vandals came along and they chopped it down. I don't know why. There wasn't any real reason given. And they're working to restore it. So they managed to collect some seeds from it, and they're growing seedlings. And the plan is to grow another tree in its place there. And but they said it'll take like 150 years to get to be the same size.
Yeah.
And all this, but They also said that the stump is producing sprouts itself, and so
So
they
it's
may
not
have,
dead. It's
they may have something come from that as well. So that's interesting.
Hmm.
But yeah, vandals cut it down. Can't have nice things.
That's
No
vandals,
century.
man. Like,
Yeah.
there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's
There's
just
no nice things for them. No, they don't
they're
care.
vandals. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's too bad. That's too
Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
Thought I'd bring that up. Hint on that a
Yeah.
little bit. I had heard that when it happened, and I remembered it, and so I went back and looked it up for this.
Mm-hmm.
But so this has been bugging me. The guy that plays John Little, is it just me? And I looked it up. He doesn't play this character, but he looks like he could have played the ghost of Christmas Past in The Telling of a Christmas Story, in like one of those like old school tellings of a Christmas story. And Ghost of Christmas Past comes up, and he's got like the big wreath on his head and the robes and everything. He's a big jolly guy, big beard. I see this guy, and that's the character I see. I feel like he was born to play that character, and having not played that character feels like an injustice, and I just need to put that out in the universe.
Well, I'll tell you, the only person I see playing that character is the Muppet that they had playing it in a Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Yeah,
because he was the epitome of jolly. But no, I can see what you're saying. I can see him because he looks like he'd be a jolly fellow.
Yeah,
with
merry. He leads the merry men.
Yeah.
Can't be any more merry than that. Well, I got one more point I want to make, and that is, who else could have played Robin Hood at this time? Who else do you think you could have cast to play Robin Hood?
I didn't think about that. While I'm thinking about that, I will tell you who I thought they could have had play Will Scarlet. They could have Corey Feldman.
Anybody else?
Will Scarlet. Well, yeah. I think Corey Feldman could have done Will Scarlet for this one.
I think it would have been about the exact same take.
Yeah, well, it would have been. It would have been. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
No change except for Corey Feldman.
No change. Yeah. Around this time, who would have been
1991
that popular back then?
Well, I'll tell you, I was watching last night, just doing a little research, and I came across this feature that they did for the movie coming out. They used to do these features on TV to promote a movie before it came out, and they were running one, and it had, the host was Pierce Brosnan. I think he would have been perfect. He would have been right about the right age. That was right between Remington Steele and James Bond. He would have been, and I'm watching it, and he's, talking about the movie and everything like that. And I'm like, man, how come they didn't cast Pierce Brosnan in this character? He would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
Imagine him and Alan Rickman across from each other. Oh that would have been fan.
Yeah.
That would have been so much fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, no shade on Kevin Costner. Don't get me wrong. I love Kevin Costner, one of my favorite actors of all time, and this part specifically is what made me fall in love with him as an actor. But in another universe, I feel like there's a Pierce Brosnan that plays his character, and it's just as good, and it would have been just as fun. Probably, maybe not as. He has humor. He has the humor. He could have pulled off the humor too.
He could have done the humor. Yeah,
absolutely.
I'd be curious to see the Cary Elwes cut of this if he would have ended up doing it. That would have been interesting. He
might have been a little too serious. I feel like he might have been a little too serious with it. I think.
So here's a curveball.
All right.
What if? So I'm thinking 1991, right? Like, and I'm thinking this is essentially an action movie. Like it was a light action movie, but no, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Made
Bruce Willis, Bruce Willis in this. So he's swinging from treetop to treetop, and he's saying "Yippee ki-yay, mother!" While he's
Maid Marian.
Yeah,
that's an interesting take. And then at the very end, Hans Gruber's about to take him down. Instead of pulling out the little knife, he just reaches behind his back and he's got it duct taped there.
Yeah.
For some reason, he's in just like a white t-shirt or a white tank top that's like dirtied and everything.
Yeah.
About halfway through the film, the sheriff is walking down the hall and he comes across a chair, and it's just got a note on there that says, "Now I have all the swords."
Yeah. he's crawling through the oh, what are they
The
called?
sewers.
The sewers that are inside the castle. Yeah. He's got a little torch.
I feel like there's a clever editor out there somewhere that's going to be able to cut together Die Hard and Robin Hood with those two characters, and we could have a good little mashup. I feel like, yeah.
Robin Hood, Prince of Vengeance.
Robin Hood hard. No, that's not right.
Yeah, no. Can you imagine? What was his name? That played the cop in Die Hard.
Oh yes, Reginald Bell Johnson.
Yeah. Reginald Bell Johnson as Azim. I'd take.
There's our Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
What a deal.
That's about all I got on Robin Hood. Any final notes from you?
No, I think I said my piece on it. It was, yeah. Here we go. Right. As we're talking about it, I think it's changed my opinion on it a little bit.
Okay.
At the beginning of the episode, I said, I didn't enjoy this as much as I did when I was a kid. But as we've discussed it, and we're open about like the parts that were silly, catapult scene, and things like that, I'm like, I could rewatch this again. I think I could rewatch it again.
Yeah, maybe the regular version, not the extended cut.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to watch the extended cut again. I want to go back and watch the theatrical cut. But yeah, I could totally watch this again.
Yeah, it's fun.
So you go. Yeah, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Go watch it. Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah, go watch it. Go watch it. We had fun with it. So. Yeah. That's right. All right. Next week we have our well, I'm not going to give away what we're doing, but I will give our icebreaker here.
All right.
What was your favorite restaurant growing up?
Ooh. That's pretty simple.
Yeah. Is it?
Maybe
for you.
I think so.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah, there's only one real answer. There's only one right answer, but we'll get to that next week.
It's probably the same as what I'm going to say, but that's okay. We can discuss it next week. Let us know what you think about Robin Hood. Did you enjoy it? Did you not like it? Did you think the catapult scene was the best piece of cinema that's ever existed? I hope you did.
I hope you did.
Let us know in the comments. Leave us a review. Reviews help a lot. We would really appreciate it. If you're listening on Apple Podcast or over on Spotify, you can leave us a star review. Sharing is caring. Please share this with your friends, family, people you hate, people you love. Share it on Facebook. Hit the share button. Hit the like and especially people you hate. Yeah, they'll love you after you share this. Hit the like and subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate it. Until next time, we have reached another checkpoint. We will see you all again, and be kind and rewind.
Hey, and I'd like and subscribe to you.
What? This Podcast Takes Tokens is a Clay Street production.